Merry Christmas to you. 'Tis the season. I got my jammies. Stop playing. We got us a little present. Kendrick Lamar in game. We've been covering this whole little back and forth game, but taking shots, saying he'll sign him. Two T's coming out, say he capping. So deleted, the deleted villain. Shout out to him. He found an old Kendrick Lamar song. It's been on YouTube for like 2 years. It's older than that. Where he's actually speaking to this. A lot of people sent me this and say, yo, he kind of addressing game. So before we get into the actual song, I wanted to cover Fantastic Hip Hop's video where he's covering specific parts of the song before we get into a little trailer before the movie. So let's check it out.
Right now with Kendrick Lamar.
And it's also been a little second since we've been on Fantastic Hip Hop's channel. Let's get it.
We have
Shout out
just
to him.
found
Happy
out
holidays.
something major, and from one of the most important
Who else
people
to break it
within
down?
his entire team. Well, they have not just fully told us about how Kendrick Lamar feels about the game and everything he has been doing to try and discredit him, which, well, is even more low than you thought. But what we have found out is that right within plain sight, Kendrick Lamar has had a secret game diss track that exposes absolutely everything that he has just been waiting for us to find out. So if you are ready to get into this song, see how it has officially been co-signed as a game response and just moment of truth by people from his very camp and who have been working with him for decades, and well, with this
This is why I wanted to get to Fantastic Hip Hop's video first. Because, boy, this feel like a trailer for a Christopher Nolan movie. Like, he will set it up, boy. Huh? And by the way, the song is like 6.5 minutes long. So we're not missing anything here. Trust me. Low key, I might make it my second upload. That might be the next upload.
Every single thing we could have ever needed to know between the standoff that the game is trying to bring. That all does come down between him and the guy who just became the face of the West Coast in a way that he could never live up to. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, because as this is a monumental moment in hip-hop, we are going to find out how much of a master tactician Kendrick Lamar is, how much of a master storyteller he really has always been, and just within all of that, find out this message, which now just comes around the idea that when somebody is dissing him, and well, it starts to seem like things may be bubbling up, but we don't see any sort of a real or direct response, what you can almost do if you just trace back Kendrick Lamar's catalog, whether you go to something like GNX or go even further back, is find that Kendrick was preparing for this very person to betray him, or just leveled out the truth within a way where if they...
That boy, they said Kendrick Kaiser Soze. They said he 5 moves ahead of everybody. They be treating Kendrick like Brain from Pinky and the Brain. Like, yeah, that boy, they act like Kendrick just sit in a lair with a goblet, just sit there, just swigging it around with one light just over his head, just casting a shadow as he pets a hairless cat. Just, what are we going to do today? Yo, I can't wait to react to that song, man. What did he say?
Ever turned on him, everything would be exposed right within the words he left us in the past. And I
also do say, like, I just don't see how people, and I guess if maybe you don't follow the game, but if you follow the game like I follow the game, I know his pattern when it comes to either disrespect, when it comes to competition, when it comes to, and this is the exact thing. Like, that's why I say, like, this is literally feels like the whole Black Slim Shady rollout he had. It's the same thing it feels like.
On that very note, well, what is now happening?
And my last reaction was me reacting to those 3 game songs where he was taking shots. So go check that out.
Is that none other than one of the leaders of TDE and the guy who Kendrick Lamar referred to as the Phil Jackson of his early career, which really is one of the highest praises you could get, especially coming from somebody as great as Kendrick Lamar, who would be like a Michael Jordan, in none other than Top Dog Entertainment's very own Punch. And now what he...
Shout out to the big homie Punch, brother. Shout out, Punch a real one, brother. I rock with Punch so heavy, gang. There will be no Punch slander around here. Punch is actually, like, helped me in real life. Like, Punch might be the... Yeah, I think Punch is the person in TDE that I talk to the most, or I have the most direct contact with. So like, shout out to Punch, brother. Like, I rock with Punch so heavy. I gotta let niggas know that that is a real one, gang. And I'm honored to even have some sort of, I don't know if you call it a relationship, at least a communication line with the dude. You know what I mean? Like, and he'll retweet me and post my tweets and stuff like that. Shout out. And shout out to him for showing love to, like, all of us. The Deleteds, the me's, the Curtises. Shout out, man. That's dope.
He said, well, all came as a response to none other than...
Hey, remember when I said the reason why I also looked at the two T's thing as more valid is because I said I didn't see Punch coming out. And Punch is very active on social media, especially Twitter. It's like, I feel like Punch would have came out, even if it was cryptically, he would have came out and said something like two T's is wrong. You know what I mean? Like, him not coming out and saying something made me feel like, all right, there might be a little something to that. You feel me?
one of the best creators out here in Deleted, while putting a bigger light on this game situation as a whole and talking about a Kendrick.
And see, he posted, and he didn't say anything about the two T's thing, but he did post a song which feels more like what I was saying.
Kendrick Lamar track all the way back from 2009, where Kendrick seemingly addressed everything. And in response to this, what Punch said, you can see right here, and with him just saying with this record that there's so much history, he remembers when they recorded it, and they wanted to document what was going on with the West Coast at the time. In a moment where the game is actively trying to rewrite history, defame Kendrick in the process, and then just try and yell at everybody and pretty much elaborate.
It's also crazy, too, that Kendrick had this in, like, a time capsule. Like, he knew this was going to happen. Like, this was like the blicky under the floorboard. Like, he knew one day he was going to have to kick that. Like, he never drilled the nails into the floorboard because he knew one day he was going to have to kick that floorboard, grip the blicky. And that's what it felt like, because this is specific. This is so specific. Like, this resurfacing, like, where it's like, if you weren't there at the time, and even if you're paying attention to Game and Kendrick as I was, you wouldn't know what was going on in the back end. The fact that Kendrick had a diary, like, evidence of that time, why did he know that he needed to document that time? That's crazy.
Gaslight them into thinking something that is just not the reality. History. What Punch is pretty much doing by just putting up this stance and showing this message is that everything Game has said is an absolute lie. And it's all because every single thing that we ever needed to know is referenced within this Kendrick Lamar track, which features over 6 minutes of storytelling, and it is called Last Real Alive. And even
actually, I think tomorrow, this deserves its own. I think tomorrow I'm gonna react to this in full. I think that'll be my only. I don't think I'm gonna do 2 uploads in one day and then make it this song. This song deserves its own day of a reaction. So stay tuned tomorrow. But I do got 2 videos coming today. With
this track, just from the premise, and with it being.
And my bad. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, man. It's been, if you haven't, look at it as a Christmas present to me. You know what I mean? If you haven't, but you watch this all the time, it's probably not even your fault. Statistics say a lot of people don't subscribe. I do the same thing. Even the channels that we come watch all the time. We just let the algorithm serve us the videos continuously. But one day, you know, the algorithm weird. Just decided not. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button if you haven't. I'm going to give you the time. And welcome. Let's go.
All the way released back on April 22nd, 2009. Damn. You won't just see that Kendrick Lamar was always an incredible writer, but he really did just lay out his catalog in a way that is absolutely genius. And honestly, for any Kendrick fan and for anybody who has been following this situation with the game and just trying to get to the bottom of it, well, as today is Christmas Eve and tomorrow is Christmas, you're sort of getting an early present here, because you are finding for most people a track from Kendrick Lamar that they have never heard, and it just tells us everything we need to know. We are just gonna go
stay tuned tomorrow. I will be covering it, man.
Bar by bar, and really just dissect this thing, because it just tells you that
I'm not gonna watch this whole video and dissect the entire bar for bar, because you know that's what I do. But I do want to see how fantastic hip hop is, some of his interpretations, and then you know what I mean. Until I come through and really put BTA, you feel me?
the real story of what happened when the game started lying and how the events actually moved, which all just does invalidate everything that the game has ever tried to frame. Which now, starting off with this track, when you look at the first opening lines and see how Kendrick begins telling such an elaborate story, you find out that this is a track that does chronicle West Coast hip-hop at the time, the person who was running this scene higher than everybody who was the game, and then the rise of Kendrick Lamar and Top Dog Entertainment within that. As now with the first few bars, Kendrick
And low-key, maybe that's what the game didn't like.
Says, let me tell you when it all started, Game dropped documentary and made plenty enemies. And with Kendrick just alluding to the documentary's success, its classic album status, and then the beef it eventually started as the game propelled up higher and he started a clash with 50 Cent and G Unit, well, we can
Damn, I remember all of this. Yeah. He also caused a lot of enemies in the West too, because at the time of the documentary, you gotta remember the documentary was the first album I ever bought with my own money. And I bought it multiple times. I had the DVD, all of that. When Game dropped the documentary, people said in the West, it's not a West Coast album. A lot of people have always said that it doesn't feel West Coast. It doesn't represent the West Coast. It feels more like a New York album. He's a part of like a New York clique with G Unit. He's going out there, and so he was getting backlash from everybody, even West Coast people saying that it wasn't West Coast enough. I remember that. And he was the biggest thing out the West. Period. And then also he came out beefed with Gorilla Black original, like out the gate. And if you ain't feeling that, guess I'm Gorilla Black. I'm ready to die without a reasonable doubt. Smoke chronic and hit the doggy style before I go out. Before I sign my death certificate, all eyes on me. I'm still at it, Illmatic, and that's the documentary. You understand me? I've been trying to tell y'all I can rap the documentary face to face. Some of y'all don't be believing me. Some of y'all think I'm a game hater. Nah. I'm just a person who's very disappointed. Very disappointed because I was really there supporting. You know what I mean? As a child.
Understand where the story is being built at from here. And Kendrick continues to talk about the game as he says this. It was a classic album, but prior to that, Gorilla Black debuted and put the city on wax. A lot of Biggie comparisons. We all was aware of them.
If you ain't feeling that, what did I just say? Guess I'm Gorilla Black. Come on, bro. I know this.
But that wasn't my MO.
But I'm gonna save it right here for the song. When we write the full song, I'll tell you all of that. We'll dive into that even more. You know what I mean? Because I remember the beef documentary. Come on, bro.
I just thought he was dope. And I think with this, we are seeing something very important, which is Kendrick just rap about the presence that the game has always held in hip-hop, and specifically what he did for the West Coast at the time, which was really propel somebody into stardom in a way that hadn't been seen since the 90s and since people like Tupac and Snoop Dogg. And with this song, it was a single that was recorded in 2009. And you know, when you listen to this track now and just see the way Kendrick talks about the game and really just details and creates a narrative that showcases his almost misunderstanding and disillusion with the choices he was making all the way back then, you always see that as Kendrick's power rose in the rap game, these two were almost always bound to be at odds at a point. But we gotta get into this track more to just understand this in full. As now what Kendrick
and Game has, it's not just that. Game will be at odds. Game is a habitual at oddser. So even sometimes I think he I don't know, bro. Sometimes he looks at it as, I think he tries to look at it as competition. I can't tell if he's genuinely looking at his competition or he's guising some sort of anger in competition. I can't tell because both of those are valid to me.
Says in some other significant bars is, well, this. Can't understand why Game would say his name in that manner. Many years went by, still no legitimate answer.
I'm assuming he's talking about when he dissed Gorilla Black. Like I said, a lot of people were questioning, why did you jump out and the first people you were going at are West Coast people? That's what people were saying. You say you tearing down the West Coast for going to Gorilla Black. That's what people were saying.
And now Kendrick talks personally as he says, anyway, I put out a mixtape in 12th grade, Hub City Threat, Minor of the Year, DJ Dave. And
that also feels like, it's not really a shot, but it is kind of, it's not really a shot to Game. It's more of the fact saying many years later, we still got no legitimate answer makes Game look crazy. It makes it look like, essentially feels like Kendrick saying, this nigga diss Gorilla Black or whoever he's talking about for no reason. And then that anyways is so dismissive where he goes, anyway, so I put out
His brother designed, put together the music, which, just for reference in the Kendrick Lamar lore, this is referring to the first major project he ever released, which was called Hub City Minor of the Year. Which, making it even cooler, this is a picture of the record CD. And while DJ Dave is Dave Free, well, after talking about one of the first projects that really did give Kendrick notoriety, he says, put it out to the people said I was stupid, with the flow went to the barbershop to show off my skills, and here's where things get interesting. He says, Mike and Jaime and some other cat said I was real. Jaime was Game's barber, the other cat made a statement saying that Game was his partner, so I gave him my tape. Which then, talking about Game, Kendrick said he'd play it for him, hoping I'd get my big break, but never got a response anyway. And so
I have this thing where breaking down music is just second nature to me, especially hip hop. Any music, lyrics is something. Breaking down lyrics is something that's second nature. But hip hop, even if I don't want to, it just happens. If I want to, like, I never understood people be like, man, I just want to shut my brain off and did it. I can't do that. I've never had that ability or that luxury. I don't know what to call it yet. But before we get into the part where he's basically saying he was hoping the Game would sign him and the Game never responded. It's blatantly saying, like, I don't think you wanted to sign me, Game. Like, I gave this to your homie. He said he was a partner. Now, he could have been lying, but something makes me feel like if you knew Kendrick in the city, if you was in the city, if you was around the area, and maybe he didn't want to sign him at first and then double backed and said he wanted to sign him, but no matter what, this makes that whole thing look shaky. You know I wanted to sign him, right? And it's like, never got a response. And here's the part that I said I can't help but to dissect music. That anyway is the same dismissive anyway that he said after that first line about Game and who he dissed. So he's using that anyway as a motif to go, he says something that the Game did, and then he kind of dismisses it, like showing like, I don't care, whatever. Because you got to think this is 2009 at the time, right? So he probably does have an anger, but he's saying anyway because maybe he's trying to cut himself off or something. That double anyways is crucial. Now we're going to listen to a little bit more of this video. Now I'll have you guys go watch the video yourselves. But
I'm hoping I'd get my big
that anyway is important. That's very dismissive and it's very anyway.
Break, but never got a response anyway. And so with this, and this is only going to get built on as we continue, we start to see Kendrick really align and just put out a narrative that is building his connection and his rise in hip-hop all through the perspective of living in the era where the Game was on top and when he was running the West Coast and one of the biggest players in hip-hop. And it's just interesting to see these early links between Kendrick and the Game, and within it, well, the hope and aspiration that Kendrick had to make it in the rap game and the possibilities that the Game could have opened for him, but they weren't happening. And so let's just continue with.
Okay, we're going to stop right here because to me, I feel like it's going to get even more interesting. But that last line and that last anyway, definitely. Now, let me just say, it doesn't 100% say that there wasn't a time in which Game wanted to sign Kendrick Lamar. But it is saying that it wasn't, because Game was trying to act like he saw it before everybody else. Maybe it wasn't that. And it also makes it seem like, how serious were you? How early were you to it? And it puts into question everything about the wanting to sign when you had the opportunity to before people and you didn't. So then double back and asking Top, and if Top and Punch know that, and then now you double back after we got him cracking, after like, even if it's after Section 80, even if it's during Section 80, it's like if he came at you at that time and you said no, it's going to look weird now. You know what I mean? Which is funny because coming up in, this type of stuff happened to me, me coming up in Nebraska, bro. Where people try, and even now with the internet, there's been plenty of people who double back and be like, yo, you know, I always wanted to work with you. You know, I always loved what you did. And I was like, bro, scroll up our messages. You left me on red all those years ago when I wanted to work with you. Wow, this is about to be the most hey, tomorrow. Now, the next video I will upload, stay tuned for that. But tomorrow we're gonna cover this whole joint. This is gonna be interesting. Go watch the rest of Deleted. My bad. Shout out to Deleted for posting this song, but go watch the rest of Fantastic Hip Hop's video.